Sauron, Lord of the Rings, and the Rings of Power, we can now say this, which is nice,
Yeah.
because I know you you initially, in season one, didn't know that I think that you were playing Sauron. So how does it feel being able to walk into season two with the clear knowledge that you are playing this character?
It was a very different experience because yeah, in season one, I don't think I found out until the third episode. So I filmed two episodes and then they told me. Um, so yeah, I remember feeling quite confused because I had a suspicion that I might have been Sauron. But so going into the second season, it was really nice to have a real clear through line and to know exactly where the character was going and the full backstory. So it was really, really helpful just from, the from an acting point of view.
Tolkien obviously wrote extensively about this character, and this show has, delved into material that fans, I think, have been really excited to see brought to life because it hasn't been touched before. Was it useful to revisit the novels in any way to gain character information, or did you stick solely to the scripts?
No, hugely. I find it a crucial part of what I'm doing. I think because it's different for each actor, and with this show, there's some characters that are canon characters and some that aren't. So, but for me, playing Sauron, it was really, really important to go into the novels because everything is so rich. Even the stories that aren't directly related to the story we're telling, they tell you a lot about Sauron, and not just the novels. I mean, Tolkien wrote endless letters which have been collated, and he talks a lot about his intentions with Sauron and the character's motivations and the origins of the character, which I found really, really useful.
There's two sides of him too on display, with Halbrand and Anatar.
Mm.
How did you kind of approach the different physicalities and mannerisms of his two entities? Because they're different, but they're still obviously linked.
Yeah, I think Halbrand was very much a human. So I he was quite, like an earthy, he's a low man. That's what they called him in the show, like a Southlander. And he, works with his hands, and so it was very human. And then with Sauron and Anatar and sort of developing this, he's a Maya, which means he's basically like he's a demigod. So you're going from playing a regular guy to this guy that is larger than life almost. So I had to learn a whole new way of moving, and I found it really useful in distinguishing the two characters. And there's still a lot of similarities inside and what they're intending to do, but the way that manifests is, Sauron's a lot more still and a lot more controlled and contained. And I think in that it's quite fun to play with the potential of like this energy that is within him. Things don't come as easily and happen as easily with his physicality.
It sort of felt like watching it like Sauron has designed everything about Anatar in order to exploit Celebrimbor,
Yeah.
like down to every little detail. How much of those tactics is he planning in advance versus coming up with in the moment as he interacts with Celebrimbor?
I think it's a bit of both. So I think the persona that he created, it has to come from a place of intention, right? It's this persona that he thinks Celebrimbor will respond to. So there has to be this, this thing of wisdom and of knowledge, because Celebrimbor's, he's the greatest elven smith that's ever lived. And who's he going to listen to? It needs to be someone that has this air of intelligence and knowledge about him. So I think the creation of Anatar is very premeditated, but then he has to think on his feet and change his tactics all the time because Celebrimbor's throwing things at him that he doesn't expect. And I think that's one of the interesting things about Sauron is that he's always two steps ahead, but he's by no means an evil mastermind who has the whole thing planned out. He has to adjust and react to people. Things go wrong for him. And that's true in Tolkien's books enormously as well. It's a lot of things happen that he doesn't expect.
There's a moment even, because normally Anatar is very calm and in command of those interactions. But when Celebrimbor finally sees through the illusion,
Yeah.
you raise your voice at him. There's anger all of a sudden. Is there any part of Sauron that's afraid of Celebrimbor?
I think afraid of the knowledge he possesses, yeah, because he, of course, they went on this journey crafting these rings, but he kind of holds these secrets. Like he holds the secrets of these 3 elven rings that were made without Sauron being present. So I think any fear of him comes from he holds this level of knowledge that Sauron doesn't, and he's actually really important in fulfilling this dream, this vision that Sauron has for Middle Earth. And so he holds a lot of power in the relationship as well, Celebrimbor. And I think any fear that Sauron has of Celebrimbor comes from this idea that he might leave him, or he might not work with him, or disobey him, or break free of this. I think we call the showrunners call it a mind prism or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's where that anger comes from. Yeah, trying to contain him within that.
I think your scenes with Charles Edwards, that sort of predator and prey dance that they're doing, it is really a cornerstone of this season. And I'm just curious, like, what was there a moment where you both realized, oh, we have this really great chemistry together? What did it evolve out of?
There wasn't really a moment, but I think we were both, because we filmed the first season and we kind of knew where the story was going, and we knew that it was inevitable that we'd be spending a lot of time together filming, and we had a little taste of it at the end of the first season. But there wasn't a specific moment that I can remember. We were in there for a long time in the forge, but you kind of get the sense when you're filming if something's going well, right? Like you can just get an atmosphere, and the crew were really enjoying themselves, and the producers on set were really enjoying themselves, and it was just a really nice atmosphere despite the heaviness of the material. And that's what Charlie is so amazing at. He keeps everything so light, and so despite the intensity of the drama, and that's I think I really responded to that, and we had great chemistry. I think as a consequence of that, us being able to have fun while we were making it.
Do you get a lot of rehearsal time for scenes like that? Because each line is so specific with what tactics the two of you are using on each other.
I think not a huge amount of rehearsal. No, we definitely were able to block most of the scenes, which is really helpful, because then you at least know the way you're doing the dance, as to use the phrase that we're talking about, sort of in the space. And then from that, you can kind of go home and work out individually what you're doing. But then you bring that to the space, and it's kind of fun doing it not rehearsed, because things are popping up, and that's the stuff that is really exciting to watch on screen, right? Or at least I find, when you're like, well, gosh, there was that moment. You get it when you watch something. I watched You've Got Mail on the plane yesterday, and I was just like, it's those moments that really stand out when you can see an actor that something is happening that is completely not rehearsed. And that's the things when you're really watching someone experience something for the first time. And we were able to think, I have a relationship which was sort of founded on a lot of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were talking about things going wrong or unexpected for Sauron, and I really loved, there's an unexpected moment when Sauron kills him, where he gets really emotional. This evil man gets super emotional. Is that coming from, where did that come from when you filmed it?
I don't know, because that was, again, one of those things that you plan and then that happens, and it's just kind of like, well, it happened because it was something that happened. And then when you get asked about it, I kind of have to think about, well, why I don't know why it happened when I did it, but maybe there are these reasons that it did happen. He's won the battle, but he's lost the war, because in that moment he has killed Celebrimbor, but really with Celebrimbor has died secrets of ring making and a lot of things that he could have used in the future, because we know, I mean, he has to still make, there's one ring in particular that he still needs to make. And also this, someone that has become a creative partner. And I think also it's very un-Sauron for him to lose control and kill someone that could be useful in the future. And he's, I think, grieving what he has become. And that he is like, it was almost kind of like a human reaction. And it's like, well, where did that come from? So it's a combination of a couple of different things, the way I can what I credit that reaction to. But then, yeah, I don't know. It's one of the fun things about the job, right? Is you don't really know why things happen.
And he goes pretty dark afterwards, and we finally get this amazing battle between him and Galadriel in the finale, which is so highly specifically choreographed. It's very epic. How long did it take you to learn and execute that?
And we spent a couple of months rehearsing that, and sometimes Mordovith and I were doing it together, and sometimes we were doing it individually, and then we would kind of bring the individual choreography together. So we rehearsed for a couple of months with an amazing stunt team, and then we ended up doing it. Yeah, it was maybe 2 weeks of filming that battle, because the tricky thing was it went through quite a few different locations. So you kind of have to film the individual pieces and then mash them together. And there was lots of wire work that Mordovith and Charlie appears in the middle of it. And yeah, he was up on a wire as well. So it was really fun. It's really fun.
You were talking about his humanity before, but he really feels like almost in his most pure evil Sauron form in that battle. Yeah. And you have inserted so much humanity into this character over 2 seasons. So what kind of space do you think there will be for that kind of humanity going forward? Is it all gone at this point?
I think it's not all gone, but he sort of is entering into a different phase of his journey. I think that it's like the light in him that remained, or that maybe Galadriel brought out, or some parts of Celebrimbor that like helped him appreciate this beauty in Middle Earth, is being snuffed out by sort of his desire to control everything and to rule everything, which still is from this place of, I need to heal. It's going to be for the best of Middle Earth, but he is falling deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, and that will kind of lead him, as the lore tells us, it leads him off into this place where he obviously intends to make the One Ring, and then he tries to then exert his power over Numenor. It's just kind of getting worse and worse, and sort of his tyranny is starting to spread all throughout Middle Earth.